Alrighty. I just got out of seeing Fantastic Four, First Steps. Just got out of seeing it. I didn't even eat all my popcorn though. I still got this thing right here full of popcorn. That's right. They give out too much popcorn. But yeah, so my thoughts on it. I grew up with the older movies, like with Silver Surfer. That's the one I watched the most. And so, when I first heard of this and they're like, oh, they're really going to bring the four into the MCU, it was kind of exciting, because all the movies have been kind of hit or miss. They haven't really ever had a solid movie about them. It's more of all these other three movies, have good scenes and good characters, but the story's pretty bad in most of them. I do remember liking Silver Surfer, though. I don't know why it got hate. I'll have to watch that again, maybe. But, I know Fan Four Stick, the one in 2014, I saw that one in theaters with some friends, and that was garbage. That was very bad. That was horrible. Again, it has some good elements in it, just pretty horrible. But so, this one, I was like, oh, it's a chance to actually finally do them justice, And though, it's but the one thing I always kind of kept thinking of the main villain's Galactus, right? And, I've noticed now with this one and Thunderbolts, the main cast or the main heroes, right? They're fighting a villain they can't actually defeat or they can't actually beat. They have to mind game them or some stuff like that. So I was kind of thinking of well, what can they really do? It just seemed like a really big threat for a one movie kind of thing, So I was interested on how they were going to tackle that and what they were going to have throughout the rest of the movie, because you can't really fight Galactus until the end because he's Galactus. So I was like, well, what are we going to be doing then? And, for the most part, I'd say that the movie is very solid, definitely is the best out of all, now we have four of them, funny enough. I'd say that, it was good. But the trailers kind of just, I'd say they kind of tell you everything is going to happen. And the only thing you don't really know is how are they going to, escape Galactus. And the explanation makes sense, but it was more of just kind of I don't know. I just feel like it was a very fine movie, but nothing really happened, Because, the emotional stakes are about family, right? And about the strength of family. That's the whole point of Fantastic Four, they're the first family, But, I'm going to be honest right now. There wasn't any emotional parts in the movie that I found really touching, I guess, or, really hit home. I think, any movie that has, emotional thing kind of, at its core, for a lot of people, they may not react well, or they may not react at all to the emotional thing you have in the movie, because maybe to them, it doesn't make them, emotional, right? And, I usually am someone that, is emotional about, family, about certain things involving family, kids, moms and dads kind of thing, But to be honest, I think the reason why I got taken out so much of the emotional core from this movie is because half the time, and this is not really spoilers because it's in the trailers, but baby, the little baby Franklin, he's CGI for a good majority of it too. When people are holding him or stuff like that, or he's doing, and so it kind of takes you out of it, in my opinion. The emotional core is about this child. It's a baby, right? But it's kind of well, it's a baby, so you're supposed to feel sad. But I'm well, I can't feel sad when it's CGI most of the time. And that's why, with the emotional part, I just didn't really, feel it. I'd say there are a lot of great scenes in it too, though. A lot of the space exploration, Galactus first appearing, they did those very solid. But even Galactus too, it's I understand that it's a towering, giant. But it's just, he just looked very extra CGI to the point where I'm it just, took me out of it again. There's all this, I've been hyped for Galactus for so long, and to finally see him, I'm happy that they kept the original design. That's great. But, you know, I would have preferred if they tried maybe more. Like, you know, you're gonna have to do CGI, but just the way it looks sometimes, I felt like, oh, it just looks really CGI. But yeah, no, I'd say that it was like, you know, everything I'm saying right now is more like just personal, like little nitpicks, but like all in all, the movie's fine. I think it's just more of like, I didn't really feel much from it, I guess, you know? I'd say they really nailed the whole, like, you know, bantering and the whole family aspect, though, like, you know, everyone from, you know, Reed, Sue, Johnny, Ben, like, everyone really does, like, kind of feel like as if they are a family, you know, all the bickering and all the jokes. I feel like the jokes land a lot more in this movie than a lot of MCU products, you know? So I feel like that was a really, you know, good part of it. The humor actually is pretty funny. And then there's kind of a stretch where, like, Johnny has, like, a little side mission with, like, you know, the Silver Surfer. And it's supposed to help, but I'm a little bit confused, and it feels a little bit far-fetched, but I won't say anything here. But again, I think in the end, I think it's a good movie, a solid one. And again, the best one out of all the Fantastic Four movies, but I don't know, I kind of want to watch Silver Surfer again and see if I enjoy it more, because, like, you know, this one, you know, was kind of like, just, you know, it was good, you know? It was just good. But, like, I don't really, I don't know, it's kind of like how I felt after coming out of Thunderbolts, where I'm like, it was good, but I just, you know, I don't know, it's not really a bad thing, though, and I'm being nitpicky, but, like, I just didn't feel anything, really, you know? I think it's just, maybe I'm thinking about it too hard right now, you know, because I will say, you know, it feels like, what's a good word for it, like, style over substance, you know, because the style is amazing, the music, very well done, the whole, you know, like, 80s motif with everything, how everything looks, how everyone's dressed. I feel like they really nailed that too, you know. But it's just like you know, it's kind of a, you know, just a, you know, a nowhere story. Yeah, that's about it. All right, goodbye.